Alright, so if you're watching this video, then that means Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are back in raid battles, and if you did not know, these are 3 regional legendary Pokemon, so depending on where you are in the world, you're going to see one of these 3 Pokemon in raid battles. Of course, I will be talking about how you can obtain all 3 of these Pokemon in this video, but I'm also going to be giving you a guide on how to defeat them, because of course for all 3 of these Pokemon, because they are regional legendaries, they are going to hold a lot of trade value for future events like Pokémon GO Fest. So you will definitely want to stock up on any of these 3 Pokemon while they are out in raid battles. They will definitely net you some really good trades in the future. But in any case, yeah, I'm going to be talking about how you can obtain these Pokemon and how you can defeat them as well, even if you do not live in a part of the world that these Pokemon spawn in. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the guide and get right into it. And how's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Count here with a brand new raid guide video for you, and today I'm going to be covering 3 legendary Pokemon, and it's because all 3 of these Pokemon tend to get released at the same time. And the reason for that is of course because all 3 of these Pokemon are regional Pokemon and they appear in different parts of the world. More specifically, when it comes to Uxie, you're going to see this Pokemon in the Asian Pacific region, you're going to see Mesprit in the European region, and then for everywhere else, more specifically North America, that is where you're going to face Azelf in raid battles. Now there aren't too many differences between these 3 Pokemon, and in fact one of these Pokemon are easily duelable, while the rest of them are pretty easy as a trio, but you will want to be prepared as much as possible going up against these Pokemon, because of course you will want to stock up on as many of these Pokemon as you can while they are in raid battles. And the reason for that is of course because they are regional legendaries, which means they will net you some really good trades in the future when you have events like Pokemon GO Fest, where trainers from all around the world are going to gather and they're going to desire these legendary regional Pokemon. Let's start off with Uxie. So Uxie is a very powerful psychic type Pokemon. It's going to be a little bit heavier on the defensive end, so you're definitely going to want to bring your heaviest hitters. Now, is it possible to duo this Pokemon? It really depends on what you bring and what level you are, but yes, it is something that you could potentially duo. However, I highly suggest you go with at least 3 to 4 trainers with the peak amount of counters as you possibly can bring, mainly because Uxie is going to be the toughest out of the 3 because of its high defense stats. Now in terms of what counters you could bring, Mega Gengar is obviously going to be the #1 Pokemon to use against this Pokemon. Of course, Mega Evolutions will boost up all of the different types that it has, so of course Mega Gengar, considering that it is a ghost type Pokemon, it's going to boost up the damage from your other ghost types. And of course, because Uxie is a psychic type, that means it's going to be weak against ghost types, so make sure you top load your team with a Mega Gengar. At least one of your raid mates should bring a Mega Gengar. It's definitely going to be really helpful, but you could also opt to bring Mega Houndoom as well, and the reason for that is of course because Houndoom does boost up your dark types. And of course, when it comes to any psychic type raid boss, dark types and ghost types are all going to do really well. And speaking of dark types, probably the highest DPS non-mega Pokemon that you could bring is of course Darkrai. Now we've had Darkrai in raid battles quite often, so at this point if you do not have a really good Darkrai, unfortunately you cannot trade for this Pokemon, but if you do have a good Darkrai, it's definitely worth the Stardust and the rare candies in order to power it up, because if you have a really good Darkrai, in fact if you have a bunch of really good Darkrai, these bosses are going to be a lot easier for you to defeat. And then of course you have Chandler and Giratina Origin Form. These are also really powerful ghost types, and they do synergize really well with Mega Gengar. So if you have a Mega Gengar in your raid party, then these Pokemon are definitely the ones that you should bring. Now let's move on to Mesprit. Mesprit is going to be located in the European regions of the world, and of course this Pokemon is going to be a little bit more well-rounded. It is again something that you could trio pretty easily, but that is of course if you bring bring the right counters. And if you tried to duo this Pokemon, expect to have a couple of failures as well, because just like Uxie, it does have a pretty decently high defense stat, so it's going to be a lot tougher to take down. And of course, just like Uxie, it is a pure Psychic type Pokemon, which means some of the same counters that you would bring for Uxie are also going to apply to Mesprit as well. Mega Gengar, Darkrai, all of these Pokemon are going to be really useful against this Pokemon, so if you are trying to take down Mesprit, then do consider bringing these Pokemon and investing Stardust into them. And then finally, to top off the Lake Trio, let's talk about Azelf. This is the one that I am the most familiar with, mainly because I live in the region where it spawns. This Pokemon is going to be in raid battles in the North American and South American regions, which means you will be able to come across a plenty of Azelf, considering that a good majority of players do play in this region. But in any case, yeah, the nice thing about Azelf is that it is actually easily duelable, mainly because it has a lot of emphasis on its attack stat as opposed to its defense stat. And once again, just like the other two, it's going to have pretty similar counters. Mega Gengar, Darkrai, these are all Pokemon that you will absolutely want to bring against any of these three Pokemon. Now, out of the three Lake Trio Pokemon, Azelf is definitely the one that you could easily duo depending on what level you are and what Pokemon you bring. You will want to be max level, at least level 40, and then you will want to make sure you have a full team of the best counters and at least one Mega Evolution as well. And of course, if you have the best friendship bonus, that's also going to help. If you have all of these factors on your side, you will easily duo Azelf. But when it comes to the other two, when it comes to Uxie and Mesprit, a duo is going to be very difficult, if not impossible. So I highly suggest you work with 3 trainers as opposed to just one other trainer. Now, like I mentioned before, all 3 of these Pokemon are going to be region locked. So if you want a specific one of the 3, it is possible to get any of these without trading, and it's going to involve just making sure you have friends from different parts of the world. Now, for example, right now I have a whole bunch of friends who live in Australia, so I will be able to get Uxie from them, and it's mainly because a lot of them do frequently send out raid invites all the way from Sydney, Australia, so I will be able to take part in different raids through remote raiding. That is going to be your primary way of getting all 3 of these Pokemon without trading. Remote raids does open up these Pokemon to other parts of the world, but of course you will need to make sure you have a friends list that's full of people from around the world, and this is achievable through different subreddit groups and different groups on Facebook that allow you to meet trainers from around the world. I highly suggest you research into this, and I'll try to find a few and link to them in the description below. But yeah, this is the best way for you to obtain friends from around the world and raid every single one of these Pokemon. If you are looking for a perfect IV of each of these 3 Pokemon, then these are the CPs that you will want to look for. When it comes to Azelf, you will want one that's 1834, and if it's weather boosted, you will want one that's 2293. Now, when it comes to Mesprit, you will want a CP of 1747, and then of course if it's weather boosted, you will want one that's 2184. And then finally, when it comes to Uxie, you will want a 1442 encounter or an 1803 if it's weather boosted. And all 3 of these Pokemon are weather boosted by windy weather and windy weather alone. And that is of course because all 3 of these are pure Psychic types. So yeah, there you have it everyone. The TLDR is that make sure you have a full raid group of Mega Gengars and Darkrai's and Mega Houndooms, Chandelures, and Giratina origin forms. All 3 of these raids are going to be weak against those Pokemon, and when it comes to duos and trios, Azelf is the one that you could easily duo, but the other 2 are going to be extremely difficult to duo. So I highly suggest you go with at least 2 other trainers for a full set of 3, and you should easily defeat any of these bosses as long as you are max level and you're giving yourself every advantage you could possibly get. So yeah, there you have it everyone. This is my raid guide for the Lake Trio. Let me know your thoughts down below. Have you caught any of these 3 Pokemon? And of course, leave your friends codes as well. I am one of the YouTubers out there that allows friends codes to be in the comment section. So if you're in a part of the world where you're able to give a certain regional raid invite, then I highly suggest you leave your codes down below so that you could exchange your friends codes and then be able to raid all 3 of these Pokemon. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be helpful. If you did, make sure you share it with your friends and your raid mates. And yeah, I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you all later.